walk
is
out.
the social clip we need, guys.
Right?
Keep going. And when I threw up, my water broke and I shit myself at the same time. The nurses was like, that's a hat trick. They called it a hat trick.
And I was like, I'm the only person in the world that's ever thrown a piece of diaper.
Oh no.
You threw one too?
You throw a lot of stuff.
You throw a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of shit gets thrown.
I just start squirting milk everywhere, and he's running around because he knows how crazy I am about the liquid gold.
Yes.
And he's like running around with his hands like this, and I'm just like Austin Powers style, like spraying everywhere.
Welcome to the Barstool Mother's Day special, and I'm just gonna totally break this whole thing already.
Yeah.
We're all moms now, but we've been treated like kids from the producers. We're like giggling and laughing and drinking our champagne.
Yes.
Like, we're moms now. We have to get it together.
We have to get it together.
We have to. We're here though.
We're
We made it.
moms now. We have no idea what we're doing.
And neither do you, which is why we're all here together. We finally decided to do a Mother's Day special. We're actually having like a full-blown PJ party.
Yes.
Thank you to Bowl and Branch. Can we
yeah.
cheers?
Yes.
Can we just all cheers
Let's
to
do
Bowl
a
and Branch?
cheers.
And if
Cheers
you're
to Bowl and
watching
Branch.
coffee, champagne, we don't judge. Cheers to Bowl and Branch. So we're all wearing their PJs. We have the blanket, and because this is Mother's Day, we'll talk about it multiple times throughout the show, ladies. But Mother's Day gifts are important.
Yes.
Practical Mother's Day gifts are important.
Yes.
Most of all, Mother's Day gifts that have pockets.
Kate
For the
loves
love
these
of God.
pockets.
Donut in there.
You said you were gonna go put something in your pocket, and I was like, I can only imagine what she's gonna put in her pocket.
Got chocolate in here. God bless these pajamas.
Make sure it doesn't melt.
Oh no.
Please, with kids, like that's probably like the last thing she's worried about.
Yeah.
If you are looking for a Mother's Day gift, which you are because you're watching this, Bowl and Branch, give her the gift that she really wants. It's a better night's sleep with the softest, most breathable bedding from Bowl and Branch. Go to bowlandbranch.com for 20% off your first sheet plus free shipping with code MOMGC. That's Bowl and Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com, promo code MOMGC for 20% off. Exclusions apply. See site for details. So we've been talking about doing this for a long time.
Yes.
But people that are watching may not, we have such big egos, they might not know who we are. So, Kate, who are you? How many children do you have? Why are you a mom?
Oh man, it all started at a margarita night in Sea Isle City. In
She's not kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
She's not kidding.
No, I am Kate. I've worked here at Barstool Sports since 2018, I think. And at that time, single, ready to mingle, living in Queens in New York City, working at Barstool, having the best time. COVID hit, meet my baby dad. We say, let's get out of the city and do a special weekend down the Jersey Shore. Margarita night, McNutley's Sea Isle City. And next thing you know, when the Sea Shacks are rocking, don't drop your birth control pill and say, I'll get it tomorrow.
That's a true story.
And how many kids do you have?
2.
So
yeah.
that happened once or
No, that happened twice. Same exact way the second time,
ran it
too.
back.
Yeah,
See,
we
I
just ran it
dropped
back.
the birth
Yeah, we were
control. No, I actually remember when I found out you were pregnant the second time, I was like, Kate, and you were like, don't ask. Just don't ask. It happened.
I
We were
was
trying to
already
throw
in
it
the
back.
weeds. Yeah, already in the weeds the first time and ran it back. But I also do Zero Block 30, the military podcast here. And I was in the Marines, and
you for
I
your
will
service.
say,
Yes, thank you for your service.
that's the reason I said it. You're welcome, ladies.
Yes,
You're
I-
welcome.
you just really
So you
wanted
feel
that
safe on
credit.
the couch, yeah. But yeah, if I could be a mom, anyone can.
She's a great mom. How old are your kids?
They are 6 months, just turned 6 months this week, and 3 years.
Boy, mom.
So, boy, mom. 2
Big time.
boys, a
Big
lot
time
of
boy,
pee.
mom.
A lot of pee
A
everywhere.
lot of pee on the walls and
Yeah.
the ceilings. Yeah.
Just everywhere.
And very cute. And Megan, your kids are a little bit older.
Yeah.
And you're like way more experienced than us, but you're also younger than us.
I wouldn't say that I'm that much more experienced. Much like Kate, I met my husband, and within 4 months, well, he wasn't my husband at the time, but within 4 months,
We're just slut shaming ourselves on the show.
oh no, I'm not shaming. I'm letting everyone
No.
know you go have a good time, and it can work out. And 4 months later,
Real
I was
moms.
pregnant with our son Madden, and I will go ahead and say I do sports gambling content here at Barstool Chicago. Moved up from Louisiana, so kind of a new environment for me, the kids, and my husband. Probably said that in a very out of order way. My husband, my kids, and myself. But yeah, I have an 11-year-old son named Madden, or he's going to be 11 in August, and then I have a 6-year-old named Claire. But yeah, kind of the same thing. Knew my husband for 4 months, got pregnant, and then we waited 3 years.
Congrats to us.
Congrats to us.
We waited 3 years before we got married, though, because that's the real, that's the real punishment.
You
No,
got to
wrong
keep
one.
holding out.
Yeah.
You got to keep holding out.
So 3 years, and then we
Yeah,
got married.
We got so, yeah. I have a 14-month-old son. I am a one and done person. And people keep saying to me, never say never. No, I'm saying never. I love this baby with my entire life. I never thought I wanted kids. And like, hate to be the person, but like God had a bigger plan for me. My boyfriend and I both are like, one and done. We want all the love for him, and he's in that really cute stage right now where everything he does is precious.
How old is he?
14 months.
14 months. Okay.
And I am okay with just the one. Two things can exist, and a lot of people have echoed it to me too, and I want to like say loud and clear for as many people to hear. You can absolutely love your kids, 1 kid, 2 kids, 5 kids, 10 kids, and also know how hard this is. And that's something that in social media does not exist right now, because people want it to be perfect and beautiful, or like tragic and sad and miserable. It's like, no, both things can be true. Both things can be true. And the one thing for me that I really found important was not being so alone and isolated, which I was horrible at, by the way. Like I felt like the most isolated person in the world. And there was nothing to like pop into my headphones when I'm breastfeeding at 3 a.m. in the morning to just listen to moms be like, hey, here's the real shit. And so we're going to attempt to be those people.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Pull your weird nipples out.
So how did we earn the title of being a mom? Quite literally. Now, don't go back into the sex positions. We don't need that.
It was reverse cowgirl.
Oh, thank you.
Just to let you know.
Oh man, well, you had to do the work and got pregnant?
Rental house on stilts over the bay. Just
Kate wants to paint the visual, okay?
But a lot of pubic hair.
Oh my.
Anyway,
in your birth story too?
Oh God, yes. By then you can't read.
She's a military girl.
Yeah. But first son, I found out it was going to be a boy. I'm not one of those people that can wait and see, though.
Absolutely
I think it's
not.
awesome when people do that, but I had to know. Felt super connected to him the whole pregnancy, which I didn't feel with my second at all, but that's a whole other ball of wax. But I started going into labor. It was the end of March. I laid down for a nap, woke up, and was like, I think it might be happening. By around like 11:30 at night, I knew it was happening, and I called my doctor, and they were like, maybe you have to poop. And I was like, no, but I'm so polite. I'm like, maybe you're right. Maybe I do have to poop. And I hung up. I was like, no, I don't. I'm like in labor.
You let them hang up on you?
I was like, okay, thank you. I'm not in labor. But I knew I was.
You probably apologized too, right?
I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you guys. I think I'm having this baby. But then finally, a little after midnight, I was like, I can't take the pain anymore. Because they were coming, the contractions were coming. Like, normally they're longer apart at first. But mine were just like a minute apart right away for some reason, like just one after the next. I was like, take me in. And also too, part of my birth plan was to do it natural. I'd watched too many TikToks, too many whatever. By the time I hit like the 5th contraction, I was like, no, never mind.
Like, help me, save me.
Yeah, nope. So I was like, let's get to the hospital. It was snow. It was the last snow and ice of the spring, and we missed our turn. And so we went from like Jersey to Hoboken to Queens to whatever. Like we screwed up the whole drive. It was a whole thing. Couldn't find parking. Finally get in there. The anesthesiologist was busy until like the crack of dawn. So I was stuck there going through nothing that I had envisioned in my mind is the way it panned out. And then as I'm getting the epidural, the anesthesiologist like, Barstool, huh? Yeah.
Oh,
like
no.
my tests are out. And I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Come on, man.
Make sure
Read
you
the
tell
room.
everybody about the hospital. I don't know. Yeah, no. So just like nothing that super nice guy. Very nice. Thanks.
Thanks for being there.
Yeah.
Thanks
But
for coming
then
in.
once I got the epidural, we put on jazz music. It was in Manhattan overlooking Central Park, the room where I gave birth. We gave birth at the same hospital, I
we
think.
did.
As I was pushing, because I felt nothing, the sun had come up. It was a beautiful day. I was watching a guy play fetch with his dog, his golden retriever, in Central Park as I was pushing the baby out. I was like, this is fucking sick. This is great. He was born. I was like, it was like the fucking best thing ever. And it ended up going like amazingly. Like we were up, once I got the epidural, we were like up and joking with each other. We even edited a video while we were sitting there. It was like, I don't know, but it ended up being like the most magical, wonderful birth.
That's so nice.
It is so
Yeah.
And like people that are watching this are going to be like, you're the worst. But like but like the epidural, and again, more power to you if you want to do it. However you do it, it's your story, it's your birth decision. I could not get the epidural fast enough. And I actually made a joke, which now looking back is probably not a joke you make in a hospital, but they were like, are you going to want the epidural? And I said, I've taken drugs for fun my whole life. Why would I not do this now? And
Yes,
they were
please.
just like, Okay. And I was like, no, but it is, I mean, to me, it was like a no-brainer because that's
Yeah.
really what I want to do. It took 28 hours for me to fully dilate, but that epidural was going strong.
Yeah.
I have to know though, where were your partners? Were they up in front of you? Were they behind you?
So both of mine were C-section. So my husband was right up by the head, and there was a sheet.
So he can see.
Oh, he could. He said he peeked over a couple of times because they have to go through. I mean, moms, you would know this, but the dads out there probably don't. 8 layers.
It's crazy.
You have to go to, like, including cutting open the uterus. And with my first one, the doctor cut me from hip bone to hip bone, which is
girl.
not actually as wide as it's supposed to be
supposed
at all.
to be, no.
So the recovery on that one was a little rough, but the second one, only about this big, was the incision, but she was also 4.5 weeks early, so she was a little nugget. She was only 4 pounds 12 ounces. And she was so, and she takes after my husband, so she was like, came out nice and tan with like beautiful dark hair and
Ready
like,
to party.
Yeah, but definitely asking where the LSU game day party is for sure.
Yeah,
for
it was,
sure.
yeah, so he was right next to me holding my hand the whole time. And I mean, of course, like I was out of it because the first one, they nicked something inside of me, so they had to put me to sleep. And then the second one, I could feel them actually not, again, this is not to discourage anyone from getting a C-section because I would encourage that 9 times out of 10. But the second one, I said, like when they were cutting through the first 2 layers, I was like, am I supposed to feel you guys cutting into me? Because I can feel.
That's how polite women are. Excuse
Yes.
me, sorry to bother you.
And they're like, no, you're not supposed to feel it. And so they just pumped me full of fentanyl. And when I tell you guys, I have never felt more like a drug addict in my life. I was trying to hold my baby, but I was nodding out because I was still on so many drugs from the C-section. Yeah, I tried to have her naturally the second time, but after 12 hours of labor and everyone on the staff being trained, so my anesthesiologist was being trained, the nurses were being trained. I had so many different people's hands inside of me to check me. I was like done. My doctor came in, I go, cut me open. And she goes, oh my gosh, I never hear that. I go, well, you never have 40 people's fingers inside of you. So
Like, and just everybody like just staring at you because it's already like we talked about this when the lights came on in here because we were like we feel like we're under the hospital lights.
PTSD.
My boyfriend had to be up by my head. I was like, you will not be at home plate. Only the doctors can be at home plate. You're in the outfield, sir. Because all I could think about was like, that's the only visual that he's gonna have. Again, dads, more power to you. Women, I did not want him to have that visual of me because I didn't want to have that visual of me. So I was like, you stay by my head, you hold my hand, and you don't look. And of course he was like, well, I had to take a peek. And I was like, no, don't tell me that. I'm like, please. But I do feel like, I mean, because you had both. You had vaginal and C-section. So you did the whole thing.
And for each, I was like, get down there and look what you've done. Look what you've done. And that's the first
staring in the
two.
face.
I remember poor guy, he was so hungry while I was in labor.
Oh, poor.
And
poor guy.
Yeah, because he ordered like fast food delivery or something like that, and he was so pumped when it came. And he had all at the bottom, like all the syrups and the cream cheeses and like all the the things he needed to put on the food. He had the food out of the bag, and the epidural, whatever, had made me sick. And I was like, I'm gonna be sick. He tried to put like an industrial sized trash can on the bed. I was like, give me the bag, and I puked all over his like condiments and his like breakfast accoutrements. And when I threw up, my water broke and I shit myself at the same time. And I'm not like, that's a true story. And the nurses was like, that's a hat trick. They called it a hat trick.
And only you happened to you.
And I was like, there you go,
I
pal.
actually got sick from the epidural the second time too, and they gave me one of those really cool doggy bags that like turns inside out, and like I was just like, "Bruh," like just it was bad.
I know that I'm going to sound really dumb, but again, we're in a safe space here. We're having a little PJ party. I did not know you couldn't eat the whole time in case you did have to have an emergency C-section. And like I said, it took me 28 hours to get fully dilated. Once I was actually in labor, it was like 30 minutes because homeboy was ready. He was like, get me out of here. But I had no idea that you couldn't eat. So I'm like coming to the hospital and they're like, oh no, you can only have like water and Jell-O.
Ice chips.
Yeah. What they don't, maybe they told me that and I didn't pay attention, or maybe it's just because I didn't educate myself, but I had no idea. So by the time that baby was out, I could not get a chopped cheese fast enough. Chopped cheese was delivered to that Manhattan hospital as fast as possible.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because after my C-section, they were like, eat some light food, maybe some crackers. I got like a full like Chipotle bowl, like extra beans. Like I was like, I'm ravishing.
Starving. I have a photo.
Ravishing?
My sister is feeding me.
Yes.
the chopped cheese. My son is breastfeeding for the first time, and you can see my boyfriend in the mirror, like holding, like he's like taking pictures. So I'm like, here we are,
Whole
folks.
gang's eating.
This is motherhood.
Whole gang's here.
Yeah, whole gang's here. So I put out like a little thing on Instagram that was like, if we were going to do parenting content, what would you want to hear about?
Yeah.
And when I say I've gotten more responses to that than I've ever done anything at Barstool, and like, again, sports, phenomenal, the guy stuff, it's like parents, it's like the universal thing. If you are a parent, you resonate with parents. Whether you like us talking about sports, military, gambling, like if you're a parent, you get it. And so I have a few questions, and I asked you guys if you wanted to hear them first. You said no. So this is like rapid fire.
I'm in. I'm really excited.
This is like we're in a therapy office. I'm going to start with you, Kate.
Okay.
And I'm going to use this word. Now, this was the word that was used by a man. Remember, he doesn't mean it.
Okay. Oh, boy. Okay.
What was the craziest thing that you did in the early days of postpartum? Now, again, postpartum is a serious thing, and like I definitely dealt with it, and like in a longer form thing, I would love to talk about the way I dealt with postpartum depression. So when he said crazy, I know he didn't mean it. But then I was like, I actually did some crazy shit.
Oh, no. Shit got crazy.
It's the craziest thing you
got
think
dark.
You did.
Got real dark.
It got real dark
For me
fast.
personally,
Man.
especially the first one. All my friends are 21. They're out partying. I'm sitting there and I'm like breastfeeding a newborn.
And your life's over, right?
Yeah, let's go, girls. Y'all have a good time with that boy.
Yeah, that's tough. I would like to hear your perspective too, as an old gray-haired mom.
I know, because we were in our 30s when we had
over
kids.
there.
I can't, honestly, like, and I've said this to you, like, just in real life, the fact that you dealt with like having kids as young as you did in the postpartum, like I don't think I could have done it at 21 years old. Like in my 30s, it's been hard, and he's only 14 months old, so I've got a long way to go. I am by no means an expert, but the fact that like I was mature enough to a certain degree to deal with postpartum in my 30s at 21, I mean, I'd be toast.
It was rough.
My
husband worked nights too, so as soon as we came home after the C-section, I'm like, I made this bed, I gotta lay in it. So I didn't want any help. And so like
you isolate yourself on purpose, which is something that you don't mean to do, but I feel like every new mom does it.
But I also respect to you if you're watching, my mother-in-law. She just after a C-section, she came up and sat on the side of my bed and just wanted to have like hours of conversation, and I was like, respectfully, shut up.
Yeah.
And I told her to leave.
Yeah,
I can't,
boundaries.
I needed to see that first week with your new baby and like your new body, like there's so many different things to learn, and like cues you need to listen to, and coos, and like there's so much.
And you don't want somebody up in your face, like even your partner. I will say that, like
the rage.
Yes,
yes,
and knowing that
rage.
like the amount of women and girls I've talked to that are like, you know how bad I wanted to hit my partner when they would say they were tired right after the baby's born. And you're like, bro, we literally just created a human, pushed this human out into the world. I understand you're
now
tired.
we're feeding it
and
from
now
our
we're
own
feeding
body.
it off of our own body. Don't talk to me about being tired. And yes, dads or partners, you are tired. Just don't tell the mom that in the early days. It's not a mistake you want to make.
I have no sympathy for you. None.
I do love the memes that are like the really uncomfortable chair that they have in the labor and delivery rooms, and the guys are like, you want to talk about torture? I'm like, I'll trade places with you. I'll sleep like a fucking angel in that chair.
I'll sit there and be on TikTok all day. I don't even know what happened.
What's it like having a full taint that's completely intact? What's that like? I don't know.
You're getting smiles from the guys behind the camera.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's good.
must
Well,
be
I'll
nice.
give you my example of the craziest thing that I can remember doing. And I will say that in the like throes of postpartum, especially those early days when you're trying to figure out breastfeeding, and if you are going to breastfeed, like it's hard to remember a lot. It feels like a fever dream. But I remember when my son, like I was convinced he had a dirty diaper, and he'd just been asleep in his bassinet, all cute, for like 30 minutes, but he was crying, and I was like, I'm going in there. And my boyfriend was like, he doesn't have a dirty diaper, we just changed it. And of course, like I'm just crazy as it is. Go in there, he has a pee-soaked diaper, not a dirty diaper, a pee-soaked diaper. But there was something in my brain that hit. I just very calmly changed my son, realized he didn't need to eat, put him back to sleep. I took that diaper all the way out, because he was in our room at the time, all the way out, went into the living room and launched it at my boyfriend's head. Across the room, I mean like a heavy newborn diaper, which is like this big as it is. And as soon as it left my hand, it was like I was mid-pitch, and I was like, like I wanted to like grab it out of the air, and he just looked at me and he was like, I'm gonna go into the other room. And I was like, I am so sorry. But it was like, I saw red of just like, you wanna tell me my baby's diaper is not soaked?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm the only person in the world that's ever thrown a pea-soaked diaper.
Oh no.
You threw one too?
You throw a lot of stuff.
You throw a lot of things. Yeah, a lot
But it
of
was
shit
like
gets
week
thrown.
like 2 of being home, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then of course, like I had to clean it up, and he was like, I'll clean it up. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And he was like, I'll clean it up. I'm gonna go in the other room. You sit for a second. But I realized I was like, oh, this is gonna, and that was not anywhere near probably the last crazy thing I did that day. But I remember that very vividly.
And I think sitting here, I'm like, no, that's totally rational. I absolutely get that.
Completely
I'm glad I
rational.
heard it was a perfect spiral. That's
Oh,
great.
well, I mean,
Nicely
of course.
done.
Like I was, I had a Tom Brady arm going. I mean,
Yeah.
I took that diaper like I was Tom Brady in a Super Bowl, and I mean, it was just like laser focused on this man's head. But it was just a little bit too soon to grab it back, and I was like, well, and it didn't hit him, by the way, because he ducked, and I was like, that pea should have hit you in the
Yeah, I'm
face.
not saying, to be fair, it should have hit him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
but
I'm on
that
your
is
side. I'm okay with that.
yeah.
Okay.
Is there
Yeah.
anything that comes to mind for you?
There was, man, so much stuff.
So much.
The first time, man, phantom crying was a big thing for me, and I always thought I heard the baby
In the
crying.
shower specifically.
Every time I tried to take a nap or take a shower or do anything for a second, I would hear baby crying. And I'd be like, Pat, you can't give me like 2 seconds? You know, you can't keep him occupied for whatever. And he's like, the baby's not crying. And I'm like, oh, whoop, oh. And then another time, my parents lived down in the Philly area, which was like 2 hours away. It took me like 4 months to even leave the house. Like, I couldn't even go to the grocery store. Like, I couldn't leave the house with him. I had extreme anxiety the first time. I didn't realize it till I had my second kid. And then I was like, oh, I think there was something a little off the first time.
You
turns
told me
out.
that? Like, 'cause
Yeah.
I was like, people, like postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety is so normal, but not talked about at all, that you don't think that you have it until somebody else like recognizes it in you. Because I did. I had a little bit of postpartum depression, and you said you didn't realize it till your second kid. Like, that's crazy that we don't have the resources to really help women with that.
I had no idea until the second one. I was like, oh, this feels good. This feels great. Oh my God. Because I was dreading the second kid. I was dreading so hard because the first time was such a nightmare for me afterwards of just like, and then I was waiting for the nightmare and I was like, oh, this is lovely. Oh, something was wrong the first time around. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it took me like 4 months to even leave the house. And then finally, like 6 months in, I worked up the nerve to go visit my parents with the baby, just me and the baby, like 2-hour drive. And it was okay on the way there. And on the way home, he started crying. And like, turns out it's okay if your baby's safe in their car seat. They can cry for a little bit in the car. Like, there's a limit and an extent or whatever. But like, it was the first 30 seconds he started crying, and I'm on the Jersey Turnpike, and I'm like, oh no. So I got off, and I'm in like an abandoned Hardee's parking lot. Oh, Jesus. I know, in hindsight, easy pickings for a muggin. And I am in the back seat. I have him out, and I'm like, we just live here now. I sat there for like, it was like a way longer time than a sane person would sit in an abandoned Hardee's parking lot until he finally fell asleep. Like, it was a whole thing. And in my mind, that was like a totally rational, normal thing to do. And I got home, Pat was like, why did it take you 5 hours to get home? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm rambling, but that
but you know how you said, like, I mean, granted, like my example was like me just like seeing rage, but like that was a maternal instinct. And I hate to be like, we're moms. Like, you knew at the time that it was best for you and for your baby. Like, maybe in like,
to be in that abandoned Hardee's parking lot.
Yes, put yourself in danger.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that instinct takes over. And like looking back on a lot of things, like not throwing shit at your boyfriend or husband's head maybe, but like little things like that, like I don't discredit some of those things. Like some of the craziest things that I did, like laying on the living room floor, like side breastfeeding because like I'm having like some sort of anxiety attack.
The side breastfeeding is like the
best
go-to. That you can go to sleep.
It's like, and we'll talk about this in our little drinking game later, but like, you know, sharing a bed and like all those different things that like people like shame you. Like for me and so many moms that I know, like you making that decision was what you needed to do for your brain.
To survive in the moment.
To survive in the moment. And that's the biggest thing, surviving in the moment. And with older kids, I can imagine it's just a different level of surviving in the moment.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially like as they're progressively getting older, technology is like
I
an
can't
app,
even.
like it's insane. Like the fact, like I'm looking back at me growing up and just like having like AIM Messenger and stuff and like the shit I would do on there.
Girl.
Like I've given my 10-year-old a phone. Like and like
See,
I
the
like
anxiety of
Yeah.
like hearing
like-
that is
yes, it's
I need some champagne.
absolutely insane.
We were definitely messaging 55-year-old truckers.
Yeah.
thinking they were our
ASL.
13-year-old Bieber fans.
17 blonde Louisiana. That ASL was definitely working. I will say this isn't the craziest thing I did, but it was one of the most like impactful memories. My husband was like home, and as I said, he worked nights, but it was the morning time. And with the first pregnancy, I went from a 32C to a 36 double F.
Congratulations to your husband for a
So
second.
yeah, so basically I had to hold each breast with 2 hands, and I was so engorged because Madden.
is the worst.
It's the worst. If you've breastfed, you know. But my son had a tongue tie, so he was just like nonstop wanting to eat, and he was getting all of the fore milk instead of the hind milk, which doesn't fill them up.
Right.
So my boobs just kept getting fuller and fuller and fuller, and I go take a shower. I
This
walk
is
out.
the social clip we need, guys. Keep going.
And I walk
attention.
out. I walk out, and my husband's standing there, and all of a sudden, I just start squirting milk everywhere, and he's running around because he knows how crazy I am about the liquid gold.
yes.
And he's like running around with his hands like this, and I'm just like Austin Powers style, like spraying everywhere.
And the first time that happens, aren't you just like, where is this coming from? How do I
Yep.
stop it? Like you panic?
I had my tits were huge. I knew exactly where it was coming
But it
from.
was the idea that like it's like losing liquid gold. Like we would put a popcorn bowl in the sink, and he would just milk me into the popcorn bowl because I'm in pain. They're so engorged. It has to go somewhere.
Tom's face.
People don't talk about this shit, but it's real, man.
It's true.
This is our Vietnam. This shit's crazy. Yes.
But it's true. What did you when you first? Because I know that we've all talked about breastfeeding. Like when the first couple nights when your milk finally comes in, what did you do? Because I know I took washcloths, stuffed them into my bra, and I'm like sleeping. And like, by the way, and like this is such a man question. People are like, you can still breastfeed with fake boobs. Like, yes. By the way, your breast tissue is still there. I have implants, but I was still able to breastfeed, and they got so much bigger because of the natural thing. And like I was shoving towels in my nursing bra, which makes it even more painful. But I was like, make this stop soaking our entire bed.
I was gross. I just let them flow.
That's whenever, because it was so painful. Again, the first time with my first son, breastfeeding did not work out for us at all. I tried
Neither did
so
the
hard.
second time, apparently.
And social media, like I had gotten so in my head about it was the only way and blah, blah, blah. And like second kid, I was totally like chill about it and ended up working out. It was great. But my first son, I couldn't wear a shirt for like the first 4 months. And I couldn't even wear a bra, couldn't wear a shirt. So God bless Ball and Branch. If I had something like this, I would have just walked around with it wide open. But every time the baby would cry, because I wasn't wearing anything, my tits were like, and our floor, we had hardwood floors, milk would just be spilling out all over our floor, and we'd be like slipping around. Like, it was like, holy shit.
So
I had no idea.
It is. I wrote a blog my 1 month because it was one of those things where I had finally slept maybe like an hour. You know how you find I slept 1 hour last night. It feels like you slept for a week.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote about that. I was like, there is milk everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything is soaked. It's all over everything.
Smells
And you just
so bad. It's like rotten milk.
And this is something that I learned. And I breastfed for 4.5 months. I had so much, I didn't realize, and of course I can't remember the scientific name now, but we're not a science show, but I actually had anxiety that was induced with the letdown of breastfeeding. Didn't even know that was a thing.
I've read about that.
My postpartum anxiety lifted almost immediately once I switched to formula. I cannot, I no free ads, so I'm not going to, but I did a ton of research. Our pediatrician at NYU, incredibly clean formula. And I was like, I wish that I would have done more research on that earlier, because to me it was I'm so glad I did it. I could have stopped a lot earlier, and I never bought into the shame thing. I was like, listen, I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, I didn't look at somebody and be like, he was breastfed as a baby, he had formula as a baby, he's not, you don't know. But the bigger thing is, there's milk everywhere, and you just got to deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I will say that my Vietnam was breastfeeding. I mean, with the first one, we made it till 9 months, and the second one was almost a year and a half. But that was my COVID baby, and she was already potty trained before 2 years old.
Because you
Like,
had
completely
nothing
just
else to
said-
do.
Yeah.
she just saw us. I mean, we were all home.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I was in a t-shirt and underwear for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So it's like she just saw me always like going to the bathroom, and
Yeah.
she was just like, "All right, I'm in." And it was like, I saved so much money on diapers.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do. So, like, I know you mentioned the Bowl and Branch thing, and of course, like, we are very thankful to have them, but it is actually like a real thing for like when you come home from the hospital, having something comfortable that just can open up and close if you want it to. You can walk around. So, like, the robes they have, the pajamas, like, it is something that you don't think that you need, and you get everything in the world for like your baby and like, get moms
I would suggest
nice pajamas,
specifically a wrap robe.
Yes.
That way you can just like whip them out.
Yeah,
They have their robes have like yes.
Yes.
If you were to get your friend, I get my friends robes now whenever they're having a baby, and this
moms
is
don't
the
get enough
perfect
gifts. Yes,
Branch.
yes.
That's why
Yes.
whenever Kate had the second one, I made sure to give her gifts and not
Yes.
get baby stuff because moms are forgotten about whenever they
right.
have
As
babies.
soon as the baby is out, you move from the labor and delivery floor down to the postpartum floor, and they're like, "All right, girl, like
you
kick
later."
rocks.
Yeah.
Now let's see this baby." So we were gonna do a lot more questions, but I do have this is my little plug here.
Ooh.
Instead of getting to all the questions and answers, because we have a lot of other things we want to get to for this Mother's Day special, comment, like, and subscribe this video, because maybe we should do some more content. Because I had a ton of questions that I wanted to get to, but we have like, this is a special, but maybe if we get
But
enough,
maybe. If you want to hear about my tits filling up again, we can.
And everyone's liking this right now. Everyone's like, Megan, you went around the office today
I did.
to ask guys about Mother's Day, because I have said this a bunch, and because a lot of the shows I do is just me hosting with a bunch of dudes. It's like babysitting grown men. I had a lot of practice. You were curious what they do for Mother's Day. Let's see what they had to say.
All right, Jay. What's the worst gift you've ever gotten your mom for Mother's Day?
A tie. Went with the Father's Day spirit just a little bit early.
I hit her with the old one free hug coupon, but I was 17, so.
Worst gift I ever got my mother for Mother's Day was a box of chocolates. She's allergic to chocolate.
My very Catholic mother, I decided to get her this mom heart tattoo. She cried.
I like to say that I since I call my mother every day of the year, 365 days a year, that I don't have to get her a gift for anything. So that's my gift every time.
All right, Hank. What is the worst gift you've gotten your mom for Mother's Day?
Scratch tickets.
My sister takes care of that every time. I just put my name on it.
Asshole.
45 years ago, on April 13th, 1979, I emerged from my mother's vaginal canal. And every day that I've been alive since has been the greatest gift she could ever receive. So, never given her a bad gift. I'm Brandon fucking Walker.
I got my mom a very nice Barstool hoodie. Turned out it was a crop top, and it did not fit her right at all, and I looked like a total idiot. So
Can I see that?
stop it. Don't say that about my mother.
Worst gift you've ever gotten
This
your
is
mom?
tough, Megan. I feel like every year I'm notorious for bad gift giving, so I don't know. I'm going to defer to you guys. If you have a good gift suggestion for my mother for this Mother's Day, chime off, sound in the comments below.
And here's the thing, Megan did tell me this, like after I watched it the first time, Spider did not know like what we were doing. That was actually like an authentic Spider moment of like wanting to know what you should get for your mom or the girl in your life or the, grandmother, whoever.
Your
and
sister who has kids, like any mom would love this.
Any mom would love this. And so we're not just doing this because it's the sponsor, but also because it's the sponsor. But they do, again, Bowl and Branch, sheets, robes, they have, pillows.
Speaking of
crib
which,
sheets.
these sheets, they come so like packaged so nicely. Like if you were to open, they have like the nice
It's
like
gift
tissue
wrapped.
paper. It's gift wrap.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They're organic cotton, no toxins. So
It's-
beautiful, beautiful stuff,
And
guys.
you can get it, like this comes out the week before Mother's Day. You can still get it before Mother's Day, which is phenomenal. And it's all 100% organic cotton, which I did not realize how important it was till I got crib sheets.
Yeah.
Like my tiny, precious little angel baby.
You said that they have crib sheets too, right?
phenomenal
Yes, they
crib
do.
sheets. Yes,
That's
because
insane.
listen, baby showers are great, right? Like I was not a big baby shower person. Like I just wanted to have like a little like happy hour type of vibe brunch for my girlfriends and my gays, because of course the gays were coming. But people just get stuff, which is wonderful. But a lot of those sheets, like you think about, you're like, I don't want my brand new infant baby sleeping on all these chemicals. Bowl and Branch has them, so it's like across the board. But also just like if you want to live in nice luxury, look at these blankets.
They like the waffle blankets. They're nice.
I was reading their About Me, and they also make sure that they know exactly where all the materials are coming from, and they make sure there is no child labor at all.
Isn't that
They make sure
amazing?
there's like They know, they have accountability the whole way through
crazy
the
that's
process.
still a thing.
So you can actually feel good about yourself while
You
you're
can.
toxic-free,
Child-free
child-free
labor.
labor. Yeah, it's like just good all the way around.
Yeah,
Sure
so
bet.
like off the heels of the guys talking about this, Kate, you talked about like you said in true Kate fashion, like fellas and friends, listen up. But it's because you've gotten a lot of people asking you like, how can partners support moms? Not just, I mean, obviously early postpartum, early days, but also just moms in general. And Sweet Malisak in that video, Jake Malisak, when he said, I call her every single day. Why do I need to do something special for Mother's Day? Well, because she's a mom and she deserves more support than just a call. And that's really sweet. But like in general, a lot of men actually genuinely want to know, how do I support moms?
God damn.
How do I support my wife? How do I support my girlfriend? How do I support this person?
Tell them exactly what you said earlier, because that was such a good answer.
What did I say earlier?
You said that they were like,
Brain.
Che was asking you. He was like, what would be a truly
yes.
good gift?
Yes, I will say this, and not just a gift for Mother's Day, but for every day. And like Pat would sit here and tell you the same thing. Pat, I love you.
Uh-oh.
Earmuffs. God damn it, you guys. The learning curve for these motherfuckers. Give me a diaper to throw.
Yeah. Tom Brady, that baby. Not the baby, the diaper.
I already have a baby. I don't need another one.
Girl, preach.
I am so tired. I am
Cheers to that.
in so much pain physically. But like, I think one of the biggest times you can actually man up in your life is by caring for the person, caring for your baby, and by learning how to care for your baby. I think it's this idea that like we just naturally know how to do it. We don't. We put in the work and do the research and are up all the hours and blah, blah, blah. Like we're learning it and there's no reason that you can't learn it too. God damn it. But yeah.
It is like when they say like you have to figure it out, it's like you have to figure it out together to a certain degree because, you know, and even if you're a single parent doing it, you still have to figure it out. But you're 100% right. Like I have a baby. I don't need another baby with all the love and due respect while I'm also healing my own body, which is something that, and not to like, you know, again, thank you for your service for our country.
Oh, no.
Something that America is not good at, which a lot of other countries are, which I've learned in my like postpartum quote journey, is how much better other countries are at actually supporting the mom. Because in America, you know, I mean, there's some women that get no paid maternity leave. You have to go like, they send you home. I'm like, what do I do with this new baby? Luckily at Barstool, we get a very good 4 months of maternity leave.
And paternity leave
And
here,
paternity
too,
leave, which is phenomenal.
Most people
but
don't get.
a lot of people don't get that. But it's like, we don't have support for the moms, so the partners at home like do need to understand like our bodies are quite literally turned inside out. Our brains are batshit crazy, and we have this little human that cannot survive without us.
The hormones,
Grace.
like that's so real. Like there's just like there's so much to it, and I think, at least I know the first time around, I had so much resentment because he just didn't get it the first time around, and it was so isolating and so lonely. And I was so full of like rage and anger all the time. And I think a lot of postpartum rage is like justified because
I agree.
So many moms get left hanging by guys that don't understand and don't realize how difficult it is. And you wind up doing it. You buck up and do it because you have to.
Right, you have to.
You don't have another choice. And so it's just really difficult. I think
You do have another choice, but it's usually CPS.
yeah, it's usually CPS. That's true. But like learn how I feel like the logistics fall on the mom all the time. We're going out, it's like the woman's the one packing the diaper bag and making sure the bottles are ready and blah, blah, blah. Like,
Because they're like, we don't know what all to pack. But it's like, if you just watch me like 3 times pack this diaper bag, just take notes. Like you don't even have to tell me that you're watching. You know what to put in it.
Another big thing is like, without me having to ask you, take the baby for a walk or take the baby into another room and be fully engaged with them so that I can truly rest without being like, I hear him fuss, like, and not just phantom crying, real cry, but actually take the initiative to take the baby places on your own if I'm cool with it so that I truly can rest instead of me having to be like, do you mind taking them for like, just do it on your own, learn the logistics on your own. And I promise you, like, it will make your relationship so much stronger and so much more wonderful if you do.
That's something that, like, some great advice that I was given is even the best of relationships, the best of the best, which is obviously we know are not perfect, go through so much shit, especially with the first baby in those early days, that it's just a mess. I 1000% agree with you guys. Here was my issue, and this became like a me thing, was I wanted that.
Yeah.
And then when he would take initiative to do it, I wouldn't give him control.
Yeah.
So then I become all sorts of crazy.
I was also that way
Oh my
because
God,
I wanted something to happen, but then as soon as it did, I was like, no, that's my job. I know better. And it was like, I think that also was very postpartum. Like, I think my head was just, I was cuckoo.
But like, that's part of, like, I always say when people say, you know, what's the, like, your piece of advice for that? It's like, again, like, I'm no relationship expert, trust me. But it's just like the grace that you have to give a mother who just gave birth.
Give
because
them
it is
grace. Oh
it's
my God,
grace.
yes.
Give grace, because we are going to think and say and do things that do not sound like us. Do not seem like the person that you live.
Bangs.
I mean, shit, like wearing the same sweatpants for like days on end and not even thinking about it. Like, that's a normal thing to do. But every time that he would take initiative, I'd be like, I just want to sleep in, because then you know you're up at like 3 a.m. breastfeeding and you have resentment because they're just sleeping like angels next to you. So he would take initiative and be like, okay, you sleep in this time. And then the second that I would hear like a coo, I'm like, why is the baby crying? And he's like, please, like, just sleep. So like, I was that person.
It's hard to give your significant other like the reins, but like looking back, especially like with the second baby, like it's nice to like not be as crazy and to be and to give yourself a little bit of like like, hey, reprieve. Like, you know what, girl, you can listen to that baby cry in the other room. Like, he's got it. He'll figure it out. The babies are, I don't want to say like elastic, but like, they can go through some things.
You do have to give them room to
A
figure it
little
out.
tumble here and there, like everything's okay.
Well, and that's something I was forced to figure out, which was another question I got from a lot of people, was how do I deal with traveling for work as much as I do? Because obviously in football season, I'm gone all the time. And I learned very quickly that if I don't give the reins away to his dad and to trust that he knows what he's doing, I'm going to go literally insane, because I love my career and my job, and it's something I want to continue to do. If I do that, I'm like on stage in like Tuscaloosa, Alabama, like freaking out, like I'm not gonna be able to make it. So I had to do that. But I think that the biggest thing is giving grace, because you're right. Like, guys, just read the room. Read the room. And men go through a lot of mental things too. I do get that, but it is not a hormonal thing that you are having to deal with. Read the room, help out a little bit. Just a little tad.
That's it. Just read the room and help out. That is your answer.
Give maybe
grace, read the room, help out.
And let her sleep just a little bit more. If she will, let her sleep. Please. In a little bit before we finish, we're gonna give words of encouragement for Mother's Day. But this upcoming thing I'm so excited about. So Kate came up with this great game. Buzzword buzzkill. So I'm gonna go through this list, and if this triggers you from social media, you take a sip, because I'm telling you, these words did not exist when our parents and our grandparents had kids.
No, and again, this was inspired by, because you do so much scrolling. It's like nothing like sitting in that chair late at night, looking over your beautiful baby's head at your phone, doom scrolling. And it's social media has like.
How many times have you guys accidentally dropped your phone on your baby's head?
Oh, several. He's got a little.
Well, now he's at the age where he'll smack it onto my head. Like, he's like I'm holding it and he thinks it's funny, and I'm like, no. But there were so many good things of scrolling, because it was like I can like not feel like I'm doing something wrong. Like the amount of Googling I've done, but then the amount of scrolling I realized was oversaturating my brain to where I was just like losing my shit nonstop, which is why I'm hoping like this thing, you put it in your ears, feel a little bit less alone in the middle of the night. So I'm gonna go through them, and we're gonna take a sip and discuss. So this was I wanted to do this one first. How many times did you guys hear, just wait, it's gonna get worse? Or, just wait, you're finally, just wait till they're walking. Just wait until they can talk. I wanted to blow my brains out. When you're pregnant, just wait till the baby comes. You think you're tired now, and it's like, can I just
It's always
live
the
in this
pessimistic
moment?
mom or aunt that is always like, oh, you think this is bad? Just wait. And it's like, can we just shut the fuck up and deal with today?
Can you let me live in this moment? Because at one point you were also in this moment, and that's not a social media thing, but you see it more on social media when like someone's like posting like, oh, I'm so tired in my 3rd trimester, and the comments are like, girl, just wait until you have that baby. And then there's someone who's like, just wait till he's a toddler. And you're like, can I just be a mom?
That's what everybody, so many people told me, because I was already dreading the second kid, because the experience the first time, even though it was so, like, you guys know how much I love my son. It's like been the most magical thing of my whole life, most wonderful thing, but like I still was dreading it. And so many people are like, oh man, like you're screwed now, blah, blah, blah. And actually, it ended up being the complete opposite and the most awesome physical storyline. But like legit, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I had this, for me, this experience again, because this was actually the opposite of what everybody told me it was going to be and what social media said it was going to be. Like, it's been amazing and like a second chance at experiencing things the way I didn't the first time.
Well, and there is also like a truth of just wait. Like I remember when people would tell me like, just wait until he sleeps through the night. And I was just like so frustrated. And then now that I am lucky enough that my son sleeps through the night, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But like, you don't want to hear it at that time. Like
Yeah.
you want to experience, because everybody's experience is so different.
Yeah.
That like.
That's one thing you guys asked me. Do you forget? I have forgotten how tired I was during those nights until one of my kids wakes up and says, hey, Mom, I froed up. And I'm like, God damn it.
God, yeah.
Like, let's sheets off the bed. I'm like half asleep, like a tit hanging out of a robe.
Can we drink for froed up? Because
froed ups.
that's the worst thing you could hear at night.
Yeah, or like before, like I knock on wood, and I'm gonna like get back to New York, and I didn't have to deal with very many night blowouts, but I've had a lot of friends who have dealt with them all the time.
Yeah.
And like those poor babies, like, and again, and it's like, just wait until you have to try to potty train. I'm like, can I just get through this shitty bed that I'm dealing with right now, please?
Yeah.
But it is like a good reminder that like things do get better in certain ways, but then you just have another challenge and everybody's so different. Like, stop telling people to just wait, because guess what? You just wait until they drive.
Oh,
you just wait until they go to college, and then what? We all die?
Stop telling people to just wait. Start telling people to live in the moment, because those baby, I know that I don't want to be cliche here, as you said, but babies don't keep. And that's one thing
don't make me cry.
that makes my heart hurt, because I'll look back on Facebook memories and, 10 years ago, my son cut his first tooth and started crawling. And I'm like, 10 years ago,
So speaking of the next buzzword or the next, like, I guess it's
Marty
more of
Jenkins,
no, I know, but it goes along with this, like the babies don't keep is stop letting your baby sleep on you all the time. You're spoiling it.
the spoiling my mom was a big one over, like, don't spoil it.
You cannot spoil an infant. And that's not, and I'm not trying to be a science or a doctor. Like, you look at nature, guys. Like, like monkeys literally carry their babies around forever. Like, I hated that so much. Like, first of all, he's only 14 months, but like he doesn't contact nap hardly ever anymore. He sleeps like an angel in his crib. He naps in his crib. I miss those days of contact naps. Now, granted, I was going crazy at the time because I was like, I just want to get up and do something. But I look back and I'm like, why would I have ever put that baby down if that's what you want to do? If you want to contact nap. Don't listen to that shit.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. Well, I was reading about the history of that. It's very Western culture. The put your baby down, don't spoil him, blah, 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 blah. And it was actually two male psychiatrists or something like that in like the 70s who were selling a book who like that was their method.
They were probably just on a bunch of blow.
Yeah, probably on a bunch of blow, which, okay, pretty cool. I get that. But it's you cannot spoil a baby. Like, you cannot love a baby too much. You cannot hold a baby too much. Like, there's no such thing. So don't feel bad about it. And on the other hand, if you need some sanity and you need to put the baby down, that's
100%.
okay too. But you can't, like, there's this big movement to like, you'll spoil them.
No, you won't.
Not possible.
No, you won't. Okay.
Don't feel bad about it. I breastfed my kids to sleep. I rock them to sleep.
Me too.
Whatever. And if you don't, that's fine too. But like, they're going to be
be fine. Yeah,
they're going to be weird as hell.
Unless you have a weird outlier where they just have a brain disease and they're a serial killer. That's not your fault.
Not your fault.
That's not your fault.
Not your fault.
It's not your fault. I don't know where that came from, but it's definitely not your fault.
Not your fault.
Okay, bounce back.
Yeah. Body.
I don't know if that one really bothered me that much.
No, because you were like 19.
I was a baby having a baby. No one was like, oh, just wait to see if you bounce back. Like, I was a baby. I was bound to bounce back.
The amount of people, and granted, we are in person, we're in the public eye, so we do get it a lot more, but the amount of, and like, I hate even saying it because it gives credence to the morons on the internet. The amount of people that were like, well, say goodbye to that body now. Like, Casey's done, like, RIP. And it was just like, I'm just having a baby. Like, the fact that, like, that's immediately the thought process of, like, women are just like, well, you're having a baby. Like, say goodbye to your body. A, isn't necessarily true. But B, even if it is true, like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Like, how dare you?
Because there's so many men out there that just have the best bodies.
Yeah.
But have you ever, and I know this is not an original thought for me, it's like an internet thing, but like how many times like we say like dad bods are sexy, which hey, if you're into a dad bod, that's fine. But, like why have we not normalized mom bods when moms are the ones who actually like created the baby?
I like to think of my body as a lazy boy recliner. I still have this thing here, and that it's like a seat, it's like a cushion, it's got a little hydraulics on it for, I don't know, I like to think of myself, he looks at me and he's like, there's my lazy boy, there's my butt groove.
That's my happy place.
That's my happy place. And like I'm like I love working out, love that. I did not realize
You really
how
love working out.
I do.
I
but
hate working out.
I say that. I hate running. I like boxing. Like I like certain things.
yeah.
But I did not realize how, and I put this in air quotes, like hard it would be for me to be able to do those things again. And I wasn't like rushing to do them because also living in Manhattan, you do walk a lot, so I was naturally doing that. But I didn't want to like get right back in the gym. I was like, bouncing back is so important for what I do, I guess.
No, bouncing back is
But, like,
important for everyone else. And like I guess for your mental health, but like if it just,
like you literally
relax.
created a human being.
Yeah, just,
like do it.
Everybody out there, just relax.
Just
Enjoy
relax.
You made a human. Give yourself grace. It's the
Yes,
theme of the
give
day.
yourself, ignore social media and just wear high-waisted tights forever. That's fine.
By the way, the high-waisted, like baggy things that are in. Thank you to Gen Z. I know, like
Thank
they're
you.
trying to do low-waist stuff again, like
don't
low
do
rise.
it.
The high-waisted baggies, phenomenal. I
Amen.
love it. I love it. All right, next one. Screen time. How much screen time your baby gets or kid? Can I use this platform really quick?
Yes.
Miss Rachel,
Oh,
you are a queen. You are a saint. You are so. You see, she's been Instagram messaging me back.
I was very jealous.
She did it again the other day.
What's she
well,
saying?
Here's the thing.
us
I
the
have
tea.
been like spamming her posts.
Yeah.
Because I think she's amazing. And like again, if you are a new parent and Miss Rachel wasn't a thing when your kids were little.
Nah.
Fun
Who
fact.
did you? Who?
I did me. And
Yeah.
and Blippi started to come on.
What's
What's
me?
me? Just me.
Her.
Yeah. So here's the thing with
The
screen
original
time.
show, Mom.
I am a very open book of like I don't do a lot of research on things when it comes to like I do what's best for my son, my family. I did look up different things with screen time because like I was so sick of seeing it. I also watch sports constantly, so it's always on. Miss Rachel is really good because, well, for many reasons, she's also just the best co-parent on the planet.
Yeah.
She actually created her show where it's not seen as quote screen time because it doesn't like the frames don't move. It's all this nerd shit. But she is so good because she developed it for her kid who had speech development issues. So it's actually educational and it's basically like you sitting in front of your kid singing songs and playing, and you don't have to do it. You can be cooking, you can be doing whatever you need to do.
And
I'm
a
all
show
for
I
screen
can put
time
them
in a
in
certain
front
degree.
of where I'm like, this is educational and I'm doing a good thing for him.
I just want to throw
it's
out
great.
there as a mom of older kids that have phones and have an iPad. My son has been like an iPad kid forever. He was reading like full books before kindergarten. He can name you every country in Europe and gave you the GDP and what countries surround that country. He is smarter than I will ever be, and I almost want to contribute screen time to that.
I mean, my parents say this all the time. They're like, you think that we cared if we put you in front of the TV? Like, we didn't like just sit you there and walk away, but like they didn't have all these things in our head that like your kid can't watch TV.
They let me slam the Duck Hunt gun right against the ducks
My mom gave
on
me
Nintendo.
the nacho Lunchables and Jerry Springer was my after school snack.
I mean, I was
bless.
watching I Love Lucy. Which, by the way, why I liked I Love Lucy as a baby in like 1995. But hey, screen time again, one of those things. Do what's best for your family until you actually have a child.
Yeah.
Like you cannot talk about screen time.
I finished my mimosa on that one because it triggered me the most.
I think it's common sense too. Like it's common. There is a lot of weird shit out there, and just pay attention to what your kids
Don't
doing.
put your 4-year-old in front of, I don't know, Game of Thrones.
Just
Probably
pay
not a great idea.
attention.
Right, that's the thing. If you're putting your
Grace,
kids,
pay attention.
we're doing a list and mimosas. Okay, we'll run through these. Run through these quick. Kate, you put this one on here. I don't even know what this means. Sad beige.
Oh, sad beige. It's like the new aesthetic that people get really upset about.
Is it all the babies' clothes and their sheets and everything are the same
Everything.
color?
So we're judging now clothing colors.
It's not having anything in your house that's ugly for kids. And so keeping your house exactly the same, and they call it sad beige, like, and all the toys, if you do have toys, they have to match the sad beige house aesthetic and all the whatever. But they're like, if that's your style, then go for it. Your kid probably doesn't give a shit and they're just happy to have toys.
Let me tell you something. I Like my
Bouncers,
Manhattan
rockers,
apartment, we
balls.
we
Yeah,
we
yeah.
moved into a 2-bedroom to have a
Light
nursery,
shows.
and all of my nice things are now ball pits.
Yep.
It's like all the little music things. Like my time will come back again. He will be a grown up at some point. He'll be a kid where he doesn't care. He's 14 months.
Yep.
He has his colorful ball pit all over my living room, and you just deal with it.
The thing that set people off was they were taking the toys and spray painting them beige and shit to
Shut
the house
up!
because it's like the Instagram aesthetic. Like they needed their kids to fit the Instagram aesthetic.
Like the all wood,
But if that's
like
you,
the wood pacifiers,
if
and
that's
like,
you, by all means. Yeah.
Yes. No, here, I have a message that we should have
Go
said
on.
this off the top. Instagram influencers, you are full of shit when it comes to parenting. For
Yes.
the most part. I'm not saying every single one. I'm not
Right.
saying the people who make it look perfect, the people who make it seem like it's easy and gorgeous. No, it's not.
it's not.
No, it is
like
not.
Nara Smith, is that her name on TikTok? Where she like hand makes she's married to this guy.
I'm
and
so
she-
old, I'm
yeah.
not even on
she
TikTok
like
ever.
she like hand makes food. Like she's like, my husband was craving a Snickers bar, so she just gave birth and she already has like 2 other
Or like
kids.
Ballerina Farms or
Yeah,
another, but like
who are you fooling?
Yeah.
Like you're not like that, and that's where the self like worth comes in for so many. Like I look at it and like I live in social media because of where we work, and I still am like, oh my god, like I'm not doing like a good enough job. I'm like, no, this is not real. This is not real life.
Nope.
Like,
I think
at
it's
all.
cool these women could do these things and like whatever, but I also think you have to be transparent. Like, do you have help behind the scenes?
Correct.
Do you have a ton of money? Do you have like whatever? It
And
makes
if
a
you do,
difference
that's
then.
great. Like that's great. So speaking of stay-at-home moms versus working moms, which
I've been both.
right. I actually, so Kate and I both like had our kids while working here. So we were we're working moms. We're obviously all sitting here at work. You've done
Yes,
both.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was home for 7 years before I got a job, and that's because of the pandemic. I started working, from home, and then thankfully, shout out Dave Portnoy and I guess Gaz for hiring me and finding me and letting me work from home, and then saying, "Hey, do you want to move to Chicago?" And I said, "You know what? Let's do it."
Yeah.
But yeah, before moving here, I was home from age 20 to age basically 27.
And they say
I was
that
home.
that equates to like it's like $7,000 a month of unpaid labor or something
Which
like that.
is insane.
I just hate that. I'm drinking to the idea that they're pitted against each other somehow
1000%.
because there's no
Yep.
like it's just fucking hard and magical and whatever all at once
And those
for
things
everybody in
can be
different
so
ways.
true. Like so again, we mentioned the maternity leave. Loved that. That's a great sound. 4 months of maternity leave. By the way, people who say maternity leave is like a vacation can find the highest building possible.
So
won't
go
say the
fuck
rest.
themselves. on.
Yeah.
You're not gonna say that they
No, I'm not gonna say.
No.
No, I'm
But
not
you
gonna
will
say.
go fuck themselves on.
But it's not, because you have this like brand new tiny baby, and that is your job. Like the amount of times I would ask, "Can I just go take a shower?" Like the basic human things that you should be able to do.
yeah.
And then you do have the decision to make, and whether you send your child to daycare or school, or you get a nanny or whatever. I remember over the fall, and my son is not in daycare anymore, but he was in daycare for a very short period of time, and it was just a good, for our family, it was easier to get help at home. But there was somebody in the YouTube comments that was like, "Oh my God, her son's not even a year old yet, and he's already at daycare. Like, isn't that so sad?" And my immediate reaction was to feel awful, and this mom guilt. I was like, "But we both work. Like, what am I supposed to do?" And then I found something that was better for our family, and we have somebody that's in our apartment now. But still, it was like the fact that person felt okay to shame while consuming the content that I'm clearly at work to do. It was like,
Very weird.
why are you pitting this against each other? Like, so if I'm a stay-at-home mom, then you're going to say, well, you just gave up your career. It's crazy that we have to make those decisions, and
it's
men
nuts.
don't, for the most part.
Both my kids have been in daycare since like 4 months. That first day, drop off, I cried a little bit, and then I got on the train with my coffee, and I was like, "Oh, fuck
Quiet.
fuck yes,
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And that is something that you're not supposed to say out loud, right?
Yeah.
You're not supposed
No,
to
it was
say,
great. It was
But that's
sick.
the whole point of this episode.
Yeah.
Is because
It was
we
great.
need to let everyone know it is okay
That
to
was
say things
very
like that.
stunning and brave of me, wasn't it?
So
Yeah.
that coffee, that iced coffee, I will say, that first iced coffee and some
By
peace and
yourself.
quiet by yourself, the first flight or the first car ride or anything, and you're like, "Oh, I forgot what it was like for my whole life to be alone." And that is okay, because here's the thing, and we're gonna there's so many, look at all these notes, which
I
I'm not gonna be
know.
able to get to, but like, again, we should do this more often, but at the end of the day, for me to be the best mom possible, and I know I have a long journey to go. He's only 14 months, but I have to have my time to a certain degree, because the amount of time I'm with him, I'm 100% if my tank is full, and my tank has to be full without being with him at all times. That makes me a better mother, and that works.
Yeah.
That, at the end of the day, that's okay.
Yeah.
You got to do what's best for you. You got to give yourself grace. So as we finish this episode, we didn't even get to play all the buzzkill, but that's okay. We'll have to do it again.
That's okay.
Words of encouragement for Mother's Day. Quickly, we'll start with Megan. Megan, the coolest thing about this is that you do have older kids. You've been through so much more than we have. What are words of encouragement from you to moms that have younger kids or newer moms to look forward to?
I would re-say, make sure like babies don't keep. So all of those memories of, or all of those times where you're thinking, oh, that laundry needs to be done, or oh, the dishes need to be done, and that baby's laying on you, you're not getting that back. You know what I mean? And that it sucks, but you're not getting that back. Like, as much as breastfeeding sucks and is like, you're not getting that back. You know what I mean? Like, just make sure you're enjoying every moment of your kids being little, because they're not. Again, my son is 10, almost 11. He's got a little mustache going in. He smells like a bag of onions. Like, he's not a baby anymore. And it's like, it's kind of, I don't want to start crying, but it's hard.
It's hard.
Like, looking back at old memories and seeing how little he was, and now seeing that he's like almost like a full-ass man.
I'm like 10.
And then my daughter, you know, she's like, she was my premature baby, you know what I mean? And so, like, she's 6. She's going into first grade, like, it's just like that. So just, all I'm saying is enjoy all of your moments with your babies.
Yeah.
Because it won't last, and people that have older kids understand this, because it's just, the attitudes come fast. Like, the bag of onion smells come fast. Like, the talk of, you know, like, periods with my daughter is going to be on the horizon, you know, and it sucks, because I just want to go back to, like, that little feeling of them, their little hands, like, grabbing on you, you know what I mean? Like,
grabbing your neck skin, and you're like, oh, I didn't know I had that. Thank you for that.
I'm not getting any of that back, you know, and I'm not having any more kids. So enjoy kids being kids, and try not to be so hard on yourself, and try not to be hard on your kids either, because they're just fucking kids.
They're figuring it out.
They're figuring it out, and as much as, like, again, like, I'm like a stern mom. And I wish that I could go back and, like, take so much back of that, like, stern hardness, because they were just little babies.
Yeah.
But I was, like, just trying to do my best. And that's another thing. Just do your best.
Yep.
Just make sure you're the best mom you could be, and love your kids, and remind them. And when you're wrong, say sorry.
Say you're sorry.
This circles back to give yourself grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, it reminds you that, like, when you're a parent, like, to give your parents grace too, right? Because, like, my parents are so obsessed with my son now, because they get that finger again. They get the little hands again.
Little
and
hand.
it's like they get to
chubby
see it.
little hand.
I mean, I knew that we would eventually probably, like, get a little bit of a sappy thing. I did not expect to cry, so it's okay.
No, I didn't either.
No, I love it.
Was
I love
out of nowhere.
I was going to start saying, don't blink.
It's so true, though. Such a baby.
Any words of encouragement?
Like, almost inversely, if you are in that stage and you're not enjoying it like you should, you can also, like, that's proof that this too shall pass. Like, that time, you can't stop it. It does also go by if you're having a tough time right now. And I can tell you, like, it's the most two things at once thing I've ever experienced.
It truly
It's okay to hate it and love it at the same time, to be exhausted and think it's, like, incredibly magical at the same time. And there's so many different ways to parent. Every kid is so different. Like, again, someone who got sucked into the social media stuff so hard the first time, and, like, keeping track of my phone, all these apps that were supposed to tell me, oh, he's not hitting this milestone at this time, and blah, blah. I ditched it all this time. And, like, I have a few mantras that I use now.
I say mantra.
I say mantra as well, but neither here nor there.
One of them is, because I'm a dork like this, but, like, observe, don't absorb. So, like, I can look at it all, but, like, I don't have to be like, this is what I have to do. I, like, pluck out the parts that work for me and leave out the parts that I don't think will, because now I know every mom, every baby, every situation is so fucking different that, like, do you love your kid? Do you have the best intentions? Then you're doing the best thing for your kid. That's it.
100%.
Like, nobody knows your baby like you, or your kids like you, or whatever. My other last thing that this time around, because it is so isolating, whatever, like I had physical issues that came after from some like freak thing. And
Yeah, not to scare anybody.
I had family that like, we're gonna fly from Philly, we're gonna fly out and blah, blah, blah. Like so many people helping me so much. And at first it was killing me. I like felt embarrassed and my house is dirty. Like I am a mess. Like feel like I'm not parenting my best right now. And I have my aunts and cousins and people in my house at my most vulnerable moments. And it ended up being the biggest blessing having people helping me, which was really difficult for me. Don't be afraid to ask for help. People want to help you so bad. Like people want to come over and do your dishes and scoop your cat shit and like do all the dirty stuff.
I tried to bring you food multiple times.
You
She doesn't
did,
even
and
text
at
me
first,
back.
yeah,
And
but
you
like,
offered to come do my dishes and laundry.
Yeah.
Yes. So like, and I didn't take you up on it because I isolated, but yeah.
People want to help you, and there's like no shame in being like, fuck yeah, send over that food gift card, like, like bring over the casserole, like whatever, and like, I don't know, but I'm rambling. Who would have thought? Anyway,
And your
you're not
advice.
alone.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going off of what you guys said, but it's like there is no universal answer for babies. There's no universal answer for parents, no matter if you're on your first kid, your second kid, whatever. Like, give yourself grace and do not compare yourself, especially to the unrealistic standards of people that are on the internet, because as people who live on the internet, we're not putting our worst days on the internet. Now, we talk about them now because of where we work, but I think that the number one piece of advice when I say is just like, it will get better as long as you are giving yourself grace and you're letting yourself feel that. And you are not the perfect mom. He is not the perfect dad. Nobody is, but you are the perfect mom and dad for that baby. And that is what is most important.
Oh, well said.
Well,
Yes.
I wish,
lovely.
I don't think that I came up with it. I'm pretty sure it's like an Instagram thing. As I mean, no,
That's
no,
an
but it's
original
true.
Casey Smith.
No, but
right
it's
there.
true. It's
That
like
was
you are perfect for that baby, and just allow yourself to feel everything and enjoy it. Cry about it. You're allowed to not like certain things. So, and
I cry a lot.
I cry a lot.
Yeah. Oh my
Cry,
So
just cry. Everything's
yes.
better if you cry all the time.
yeah, there are so many
And I
things.
do.
There, yeah, me too, girl. There are so many things that we could say. So if you, like I mentioned, we hope we can come back and do this again.
Yeah.
So comment and like and send it to people. We hope you enjoyed it. And again, Mother's Day.
More importantly, don't forget Mother's Day.
Don't forget Mother's Day.
There's
Go to Bowl and Branch. Give her the gift she really wants. As Kate's eating out of the pockets, Bowl and Branch, a better night's sleep with the softest and most breathable bedding, pajamas, pillows, crib sheets, robes from Bowl and Branch. Go to bowlandbranch.com for 20% off your first sheets plus free shipping with code MOMGC. That's Bowl and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com. Promo code MOMGC for 20% off. Exclusions apply. See sites for details. Do not forget it comes gift wrapped, so you don't even have to gift wrap it. Do it.
Done.
We love you guys. Happy Mother's Day to every type of mother that is out there. Grandmas,
Except
aunts,
if you're a
sisters,
bad one.
moms.
Yeah, except a bad one. which is
We
what
love
we're
you.
doing about.
Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
You deserve it.
Yeah.